Hey everybody, this is Ben.
And this is John. And today we're going to do a gulp review for Thoroughbreds.
So we just saw Thoroughbreds, directed by a new coming director named Corey Finley. Guess this is the first thing he's ever done. I wouldn't say it shows. I think he's competent. I think it was a really interesting looking film, some really good performances, and working from a script he wrote that I gotta say is pretty awesome. John, what'd you think of Thoroughbreds?
It was an interesting film. I think we both talked about how it's a little bit hard to classify.
Yeah.
It's somewhat a thriller, somewhat a dark comedy, but doesn't really live up to be either of those exactly.
No.
Also, just a drama at times. The performances are what stood out the best for me. I also think the screenplay has some interesting moments in it, but it also, like, I wouldn't say that it shows it's a first-time filmmaker or a student film to any degree, but I think there were some things, especially with the camera work, that showed to me as kind of maybe a first-time filmmaker trying some things that didn't totally work for me. But it was an interesting watch. Good thing it was kind of short. I think
it was short. It stood out on how short it was.
Yeah. At one point, I was kind of like, I hope this doesn't go for too much longer because you've already set up everything you need to.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it was quick.
It's a small cast of characters, isolated into basically two central, mainly just one central location, but a couple other small ones. So it didn't need to be any longer than that, and I thank it for that because it is. The story itself plays out. There's no need for anything else. It doesn't drag on past where you think it's going. I was glad that when I was like, okay, so this is we're here. This is happening. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh, well, then there's another 30 minutes tacked on. There wasn't. It was to the point. It was a really tight script. But yeah, you're right. Cinematography. It was cinematography 101. It was all the stuff in the handbook. Again, competently done, but stood out because it's like, hey, look what I can do.
Well, one thing I thought was kind of interesting about some of the compositions was there was a lot of putting the two main characters on two sides of the frame and like these. It kind of created this opposing view at times and really felt like there was constantly them facing off, kind of are seeing things the same way in the film, and they were still kind of doing that, although they seem to move closer in the frame as the film goes along. So it really kind of had them on two sides to begin, and they kind of move closer.
Olivia Cooke and the irritatingly stunning, like hard to watch this movie, Anya Taylor-Joy, because she's so ridiculously pretty. It's like Olivia Cooke and Anya Taylor-Joy acting with the camera work the way it was. There was no room for amateur hour. Like, they are good actresses because this camera is in their mugs, like for most of the movie. And the editing for it, the cuts were good so you can clearly see who was speaking, and they actually did that on purpose. There was a lot of emphasis on who was speaking.
Yes.
So both strong actresses for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where Anya Taylor-Joy goes with her career. She's definitely very interesting.
She's going to be one of those actresses that has a hard time being taken super seriously with her talents because she's so stunning to look at.
The choices she's made up to this point are kind of serious film choices. Split, that's pretty serious.
She was great in that.
The Witch, she was amazing. So I think she's got a good direction with her career, that she's not taking necessarily the typical teen roles. Maybe she wouldn't even be believable in those roles to some degree. But I did want to bring up, you mentioned that she kind of reminds you in her looks a little bit of Emma Stone.
Yeah.
But Emma Stone's eyes, because it's the eyes, right? Kind of the bug eyes to some degree. But Emma Stone's eyes are the big round bug eyes. Whereas Anya Taylor-Joy's are like more like a praying mantis to some degree.
Yes.
And it fits this role perfectly. But I also really love Olivia Cooke. She's
so good, man.
Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. She was great in that film.
She was great on Bates Motel, too.
Okay, and I haven't seen that. But she's a really interesting actress. I really enjoyed her in this film. Both of them, it's funny, what is her name? Anya Taylor-Joy. Both of them. Anya Taylor-Joy. Joy is the word that neither of them are able to feel in this movie, but that was an interesting part of the film. Obviously, they're both ambivalent, and that's brought up in the film. But that really plays out in their performances really well.
Yeah, prepare yourself. This movie is very Shakespearean in the sense of like where it goes and who helps it get there, and does it flip over on itself or on certain characters. I felt by the end of it, it was very sort of tragedy, motivated by like misguided people misguiding each other over and over and over again. And this movie explores a lot of like misguided behavior from a character who feels nothing, who feels no emotion, supposedly. But that's what I kind of like, is that really what's happening?
I feel like the way the film ends, that is who her character was.
But you're not sure if she's full of shit for a while, because there's things that she does and things that she reacts to.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like the other character is the one, because by the end, the other one is there.
The other one does take on that mantle for sure. Let's bring up the tragedy in the room. Anton Yelchin, really sad.
So good in this movie.
He's really good in this movie.
Not in a ton, but such a shining, like, bright spot when he's in it.
For sure, yeah. It was great to see him do one last performance that really stood out in the film.
Yeah.
It was a little different than some of the things we've seen him do in the past, a little bit more comedic, I think.
Well, he's so good at that. He transforms himself into this just scumbag, just pathetic loser. Like,
this weekend, I wonder if actually they're paying respects to Anton Yelchin by releasing this movie this weekend. His birthday would have been Sunday, March 11th, which is the same day as my birthday.
Happy birthday, happy birthday. Oh yes, it's your day. I hope that it's out.
Definitely gonna be missed.
Totally, especially with roles like this, because that weird score was really fun, right?
Yes,
and it was
score.
like it was different when it was Olivia Cook's character played out differently, and it had these little doink doink, these little picks of like piano strings and all kinds of and weird drums. Like someone was hitting like a box of cereal at points.
Yeah,
it was really cool. And when they're walking through the house and like. It's such an underlit film, you know, like, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, it was really underlit, right? Like,
there's one specific sound that they use to let you know what the father is doing at times in the house that really is kind of a key part of the film. That was used really well. I did think it was obvious in the big moment of how they were going to play that out using the sound. I was pretty sure that was exactly the way it was going to go, and it did go that way.
Fucker's never done anything before, and like he made this. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Film students all, as far as the eye could see, should go.
So what did you think of the film?
This was a good, I want to say maybe hour and 20-something minute long film, maybe an hour and 30. They're feeling shorter these days. Rest in peace, Anton Yelchin. So I'm going to give Thoroughbreds a 6.75.
I think it was about a 6.25.
So that was our Gulp review of Hanging with Mr. Ed. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, John, where can they find us? As always, if you like this review, please leave some comments in the comment section below. Click like and or subscribe.
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Until next time, this is Ben.
And this is John. We drink your cinema.
I drink it up!